Emily Yeatts. I work at the Virginia Department of Health and I am the reproductive health supervisor, but I am not here today to talk about work or related. Thank you so much for confirming you could hear me. I am not here to talk about reproductive health today. Happy lunch break, everyone. I want to invite everyone to join me on uh, hopefully a centering and meditative exercise. I have been nature journaling and working in sketchbooks probably for about 7 years now. I was one of these kids that always was drawing something, and I had my parents have found like old drawing books that I did, so I was always interested in it, but I never pursued it in any kind of official way, and I still don't really. I've taken classes at Lewis Skinner Botanical Garden, and I practice a lot at home, but it's more of a private practice that has really helped me just get through the day, get through life. And so thank you so much for joining me as we um as we work together on this. I'm making sure. Whoop. Okay, cool. I think it's all working now. So before we get started, I'm really curious on who's joining me. So if you could just put in the chat where you live and what agency you work for. I'm just curious. And does anyone have experience nature journaling, or is everyone a newbie today? Okay, I see Susan and Cheryl. Hello, Richmond, Stanton. I see a few VDH people, Northern Virginia people. Verina, hello, hello. I'm from the governor's office. Okay, Southwest represent. Got Salem and Roanoke. Marion, okay. DBHDS. Newbie, wonderful. Welcome, Chaitali. So we're from all over. That's great. Um, I believe that nature journaling is for everyone. It does not matter if you consider yourself an artist, if you think that you're a good artist. It's about the practice, it's about slowing down and observing around you. You already have everything you need for nature journaling right now. Oh my gosh, hey, Kadesh. Kadesh used to work at VDH. Hey, but you already have everything that you need for nature journaling if you have a pencil and a piece of paper. I will share some of my favorite supplies for you to consider. I have a little list here. So first off, there are a lot of really good books out there for people who are interested in exploring this more. There's a new book from a gal named Laura Call Gastinger. She does perpetual journaling, and I'll show you my perpetual journal here in a second. So here's some, I'm going to put some of my favorite books in the chat. So some of these are art books, and some of these are books about nature. Laura Call Gastinger's book just came out like last week, so I don't have a copy yet. But what she has pioneered is the idea of a perpetual journal, which is one of my sketchbooks I'm going to show you today. So the idea of a perpetual journal is that there are 52 uh, open pages. So was that 104, 100 pages? And each spread is for a whole year. So if you look here, you'll see this is January 1st through 7th. And then the next week is January 8th through 14th. The next date is January 15th through 21st. And you get the idea. So the idea of a perpetual journal is you do an entry each week. You go all the way through the year. And then when the year starts over, you do it again. So I've had this perpetual journal since 2020. And as you can see, I'm filling up the pages. Okay. And the idea is after, I think I've got one more year in this one before the pages are too full. So I can get 7 years out of it. If you draw big, it might be less. If you draw small, it might be more. Um, so the idea of a perpetual journal is that you look at how things change over time. So, and the cyclical nature of the environment around you. I am always delighted when the irises open the same week every week. It is amazing to me. So today I'm going to do an entry in my perpetual journal with you. Other good, and her book, A Perpetual Journal Practice, is about that. There's another really great book that I bought last year called Tiny Worlds, of the Appalachian Mountains, an artist's journey. And it's by an artist named Rosalie Hazlett. And she like stopped all along the Appalachian Trail, including in Virginia, and looked at all the things that are like smaller than 18 inches, I think. It's a beautiful, wonderful book. Another art book I like a lot, if folks are interested in learning more about drawing, Natural History Illustration and Pen and Ink. I look at this all the time because I'm always learning. And then nature books, there are a few classics. Braiding Sweetgrass, really great book by Robin Wall Kimmerer, an Indigenous scholar who looks at Indigenous knowledge about plants and the environment and all that we can learn from it. Iwigura by Enrique Salmon is similar, but it's a little bit more of a reference book of plants that are native to the United States. And then My Background Bird Chronicles by Amy Tan, which if there are any readers out there, you might have read the Joy Luck Club in high school. She got really into drawing and birds during like in the past 10 years. And My Backyard Bird Chronicles is so good. I loaned it to a friend, so I don't have it to show you today. But if you're interested in exploring some books, go for it. Here are some, let's see, local artists and other artists that inspire me a lot. I want to make it really clear that what I'm sharing today is not like new or unique to me. Other people have been doing this, particularly Indigenous people have been connecting with nature in the United States since the dawn of time. And so I don't want to ever represent that this is like a unique idea. It's actually a really ancient idea, and all are welcome. So if you have Instagram, there's a lot of great art on Instagram, and those are just some of my favorite. And then if you're interested in buying art supplies, because sometimes when I do this workshop, they're like, what do I get? Well, first off, like I said, you have everything that you need already if you have a pencil and paper, right? However, if you want to get a standard sketchbook to get started, this is my favorite. I have little stickers on it, but this is a Stillman and Byrne sketchbook that's like $15 to $20. And I like it because the pages are like kind of thick, so I can add watercolor to it if I want. That's my preference. And then if you want a fancy handmade sketchbook, if you want to do like a deluxe or a gift for someone, there's this gal named Lindsay Mears who like hand makes sketchbooks with like really nice paper. So that's what my perpetual journal is. But you don't have to like, that was like a treat to me. You don't have to buy a handmade sketchbook or anything. I actually really like these little things that cost like 25 cents. If folks have these, you can get them on Amazon for like $10 for a pack of 25. So these little notebooks are great. I've used them in past classes actually. Just little, you can just kind of draw at your desk. I like to use a pencil. It's just a mechanical pencil. I prefer the Winsor and Newton pens, but a lot of people like the micron pens. Everyone has their preference, but One of these pens is probably like $2 each. And then I also really like using water brushes sometimes. These, if you have kids, these are like in craft kits sometimes, and it's like a brush that you put a little water in it, and it's like easy watercolor. These are all linked in the chat that I shared with you. Another handy thing is you can buy these sample cards. You see these? So you can buy these sample cards from water. I get the use the company Daniel Smith. They are trying to sell you their paints. Don't get it twisted. You can, but it's really nice to have this little sample, and I have it taped in the back of my sketchbook. And what I'll do if I want to just add a little color, I just come back here, dab it with the water brush, and have a little color without having to do all the like get the cup of water and get the brushes and everything. So those are the supplies that I use. I also sometimes use this little glove. It's like a glove for only 2 fingers. I think this is like for not like using a Wacom tablet or like tech things. It's very Madonna, you know what I'm saying? But it keeps you from like dragging your hand across what you're drawing. Kind of a habit at this point. So now, any questions before we get started? Okay, let me check the chat. Okay, no questions. So I have 2 options for what we can draw today. So first off, if you have something you want to draw, just draw that. Doesn't matter. Okay. This is about slowing down, enjoying your lunch break. And I have a couple like options for you. I took 2 pictures in my garden, and I'd like y'all to vote on which one we're going to do today. I can share both images if I'm allowed to. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, but Kesley can share them. I'll send them to her in Teams. If we vote on one that you're like, oh, I hate that one, you can do the other one. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm gonna get Kesley to help me. If you could please, what I have on the left here is a picture of a flower in my garden called Baltonia asteroides. And those opened up this week, which is why I thought it would be good to do. For nature journaling, it's good to make note of things that are changing. So on the left, we have this really cute little flower. On the right, we have mushrooms and lichen growing on like a big branch that was in my garden. We can do either one. So I'd love for you to put in the chat which one you want me to. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and we'll all look at it. But Kesley can help me share the other one if we end up not going with the one that you were really hoping for. Okay, what do we have? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of flowers, but some interest in the log with the mushrooms. Kesley, do the people want the flower?
I think so. It looks like a pretty close
Okay,
split, but it looks like
okay.
Flower is taking the lead.
So what I'm gonna do, because I did see people who wanted the mushroom. That's awesome. Okay, great. I'm gonna share with Kesley that image, and I've got to share it with you privately, Kesley, because it doesn't look like I can upload an attachment in the event, which is totally fine. But Kesley has the power. So Kesley can share the lichen and mushroom on the log with folks. So if you want to pull that up, you can pull that up. Um, okay. In the meantime, still sharing my screen. Let me share again. Okay. So I'm gonna make it bigger. I really like this leaf here. So if you're wondering why I put a piece of paper behind it, it's because if you're trying to take a picture of a flower, I don't know if folks have tried, it's actually kind of hard because flowers are round. And if you put a sheet, like a piece of paper behind it, it helps you take a better picture and also helps you look back and like look at it and see the details a little bit better. So I am also joining this webinar by my phone. And so you should be able to see my sketchbook on the Emily Yeatts phone. Can y'all see that? If you want to draw along with me, you're welcome to. And I'm just going to kind of talk through my process while I draw. I'm going to draw the flower. And I really invite folks to share their experiences too. So I'm going to take these big, I have these big goofy like clothespins that hold the page down, which is going to be really helpful for me. Okay, books are heavy. So we're going to draw for 25 minutes. So we're going to draw until 11:20. And then what I like to do is start winding down at 11:20. So we'll draw a couple minutes after 11:20, but I'll give everyone a warning at 11:20. And then I'd love for you, if you're open to it, to share your screen and show me what your version of it. So this is my perpetual journal page for July 8th through 14th. I'm excited to do this with y'all. It's also kind of scary to do this live. One thing that's nice about doing a perpetual journal is that it kind of, you do a little drawing every week, one drawing a week. That's reasonable, right? And if you spend about 30 minutes on it, that's great. I know everybody's busy, but 30 minutes a week, I think your mental health is worth it. So I usually start by taking a pencil and putting down the lines really lightly. And then I add pen, and then I delete my pencil lines. So Laura Call Gastinger, I've taken workshops with her. She rules, man. She just goes right in with the pen. I don't have that confidence. All right, you know what I'm saying? Like she's won gold medals and just published a book. I'm not there. So I start with pencil, but everyone has their own process. A few things that are helpful when drawing a plant is they say that if you draw in the direction where the plant is growing, it's a little easier. So I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to start like kind of here. So, let's see, where do I want this? And it's okay if it goes off the page. This is one that's probably going to go off the page a little bit. You welcome that. So I'm going to start it right here. So I'm going to draw a little line and it goes up. This is like the basic shape. And then it's going to go over like this. It'll be easier to see when I um, do it in pen. Yeah, Kesley, go ahead.
Sorry, I am I'm trying to enlarge your image and I raised my hand by mistake, so
Oh,
keep
that's so
going.
funny. Well, thank you for doing that.
Mhm.
Isn't that funny when that happens? They're like, Kesley, do you have a question? It's like, I do not. I am sorry.
I wish I could think on my feet quicker and I would have come up with a question, but I'm also enamored with watching you draw right now too. So
Ah, well, that's so nice. The thing with the perpetual journal where you like keep coming back to it and the like spread is never really finished is you might want to like make edits to something a year later, and that's totally fine. It's your journal. Okay, so then we've got this up here. So I'm just putting it down really lightly. People who have more like experience than me will say that it's not good for the paper to erase because it is true. Like you remember when you were in grade school and you had trouble with homework and you're like erasing. It does tear the paper eventually, you know? That's how you know that like the math problem's really getting you is when you have to like start it over, right? So that happens with art paper too. If you keep erasing, it'll mess it up. But like it doesn't matter. Just draw like lightly. Just draw lightly, And okay, we're gonna lay out this. I think this goes here. And then we also have another one coming from like here. Just kind of getting the getting where I want it to go. And this is one I'm going to have. I don't like how these lines are coming together right here. So I'm going to fix that. Make it a little longer. And I'll extend this. Okay, now I'm going to start using my pen. So I use these ones are Newton pens. I like to start with one that I don't know if you can see. It's like 0.05. If you don't have one of these pens, you can use a ballpoint pen. Doesn't matter. Okay. Where do I want to start? Let's start right here. So I think I mentioned, I don't like how this is. I'm gonna extend this branch because I don't want it to like stop in the middle of this drawing. Just a personal preference here. We're gonna draw these little lines. So I try to sometimes I'll do stippling, like with little dots. Those are a little easier to correct. I draw this little leaf here. Uh, so I do find that when I just take the time to really focus on drawing a straight line. It's amazing how much calmer I feel. Um, and so I just encourage folks, if you've got plants in your office, you could doodle those. Absolutely. You don't have to go out into the wild to to do this. You can do it inside. And I actually got really into sketchbooks after I got into a pretty bad car accident. And after the car accident, I was kind of homebound, you know. I couldn't really go anywhere. I was feeling pretty sad and I couldn't be as active. And so I got really into just drawing what was in my garden and my potted plants. And, that was years ago. And now Kesley keeps inviting me back to do nature journaling workshops. You know what I mean? What a life. All right, let me come back here. I'm curious if anyone has this in their garden. It's a pretty common uh, aster. All right, so I'm just drawing some light lines here. Here, she's coming together. And I'm actually going to have this go off the page some. I think it's kind of interesting when, yeah, I mean, you could see it as a mistake, but I think it's pretty interesting when stuff goes off the page because it shows this plant, if anybody's ever seen it, it's really wiry, like it gets like bushy and kind of wild. So that kind of implies how it grows, if you ask me. Okay, let me move this a little bit. Okay, so we did this part. Now we're gonna do the fun part, the bloom. Let's come up here and up the middle. And I saw some people joining. Welcome. If you're like, what is going on? We are drawing this Baltonia together. But if you have something you want to draw, you're welcome to it. So one of the things that I encourage folks to do who are interested in doing this, however often your schedule allows, is to think, so a lot of times we think quality over quantity. But when it comes to sketching in practice, it's just about practicing. It's not about everything being perfect, you know? Like not every drawing that you do is going to be a masterpiece. But if you just practice, you put in the work, you know? Who was it? The like 10,000 hours guy? You just have to you just have to do it and you get the benefits of doing it whether or not it looks like you want to frame it or not. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So I got this a little off here. Doesn't it's okay. I'm gonna bring him up here. Alrighty. Moving a little bit. And then here's where we'll do the pretty bloom. Just a little, just a little cutie. We'll come back and add the details later. Now let's do what's over here. What's this? Um, oh yeah, we have this big guy that comes up. So we'll come up here. And I'm gonna have it go to the right or to the left of this little plume. So it doesn't cross it exactly. I have never drawn this one before. My friend gave me this plant last year, and it was just a little baby. And so this is the first year that it's grown. Okay, so I've got the basics down. I'm actually going to have it go a little further, kind of disappear. All right, I don't think you can see this on your end, but I can still see my little pencil marks. So I'm going to take just an eraser and really gently erase them because they're kind of confusing me. But you can leave yours if you want. I know a guy who never erases, like that's part of his process. I don't know how he keeps it straight, but hey, whatever. Okay, so now I've got a little line drawing. And here, we're going to make this. I might actually have this go all the way off. It's going to be darker over the top. Okay. My hand is shaky. So now time to add the details. So this is a pretty simple little flower, but the white is the lightest part and the green is the darkest part. And then the yellow's in the middle. So everything that's green should be a little darker. So I'm gonna start adding more like ink to the leaves. You can do that by doing these little dots. Here, I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that well, but like doing tiny little dots. Doesn't feel like much, but over time, if you keep doing them, it'll make it darker. This leaf is really dark. So I want a lot of dots here, and I want this middle line really clear. How are we doing out there? Everybody feeling good? I hope so. I'm also adding just some lines. So you see how this leaf is like a lot darker now than it used to be? The stem will also be darker. So you can just add teeny little lines there. A little trick for drawing is that like wherever things meet, it's a little darker. So like if you've got a corner, if you've got a little place where everything is meeting, if you put a little mark where everything meets, it'll look like it has more depth. So in my journal, I always write like I'll write little things that are going on. So I'm definitely going to write that I did this with y'all. Y'all are going to be immortalized in my journal. So coming down to the bottom, adding some lines. Okay, it's coming together. So like here, where these things meet, I'm going to add a little darkness. Here, where these things meet, I'm going to have a little darkness. Here, where this leaf meets, where this leaf comes out, I'm going to put a little ink there. coloring in my leaves. All right. All right, bringing this up. And then this center part, this like center flower, is really like kind of fuzzy looking. And so if something's fuzzy looking, doing little dots can help imply that texture. All right, let me come up to this flower. And if you're not done, it's fine. So as a general rule, things that are behind something are darker than things that are in front of things. So if you have a leaf crossing over, the leaf that's in front is going to be lighter than the leaf that the the leaf that's behind. So that's another little trick. If you're like, how do I make this look like it's in front? You make the thing behind it darker. And drawing white on white is actually kind of hard. Um, this is just a sketchbook. So it does not have to be perfect, but doing white, like white actually has a lot of color in it and it's like reflected. So it's hard to like convey the shape when you're just using a pen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all a little trick in a minute once I get this all drawn. Okay. So this part, I'm going to finish, I'll probably finish this after our little workshop, but I want to show you how to use the watercolor brushes if you want to. So the white, if you want to make the white stand out, so you can put a color behind it. I did that some. I think I did it. Okay, you see this? That's a white flower too. You can kind of only see it because I colored behind it, right? And then there's another one I did. Yeah, I think that's the one. So I'm gonna put a little bit of color behind it to make it clear that it's white. So I'm gonna take this little, got my little paints, and let me put the yellow in. I think, I don't know how to time this. I think this yellow is probably the middle. So with the water brushes, there's water in it, and you, boop, now you have some pigment. And so I'm just going to put a little dab of yellow in the middle. Isn't that cute? And then I'm putting this yellow here and then this yellow here. Just make it like pop a little bit. Okay. And then I kind of want that white to stand out. So I'm going to put wash behind it. So I'm looking at this whole page. Got a lot of yellows and purples and greens. So I'm going to keep that going. So I'm actually going to pick a purple. So let's see. I've got kind of like this guy. That's what I'm going to do. It's like a light pinky purple. It's going to keep the vibe going that I've got going on this page. So I'm not painting the flower this color. I'm painting behind the flower this color. And it's just, you see it? So I'm not trying to make it like super dark for me, but you can make it dark if you want. I'm just trying to get it to pop a little bit. And I think I kind of want this whole little corner to be this color. I'm on a roll. So you see how that makes the white stand out a little bit? That's what I like. That's what I like. So I'm going to do that. Still a little. And if you have watercolors at home, you can just use what you have. And not, you can always come back and add it or keep yours no color. I kind of like the color washes in the journal. I've done it on other pages, and I think I want to do more of that. Tighten this little part up. Okay, so now there's just like a little color behind it to make it clear that it's white. And I think it looks a little naked without the green. My mom would say naked. So I'm gonna add a little bit of green, just a little, to some of the leaves. Where the color's going. It also kind of makes it pop out from the other things on the page. Can you believe it? It's already been actually 30 minutes. I hope everybody feels really relaxed. Okay, this is mine. I'm not done. I gotta, shade this part in, but this is what I got. And y'all are forever immortalized on my sketchbook page. Kesley in particular is gonna get a shout out in my journal. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to leave with my phone and come back to everyone. And I would love to see what people have done. If you're willing to share, um, because it just makes me happy when I get to draw with people. Let me change the view. Bear with me. You'd think I'd be better at technology than I am. Um,
Emily, that
can we
might
make
be a
it
setting on my
that
end, so let me
that you
poke around and see.
can we make it like the grid so that we can see everybody?
Well, I see the toggle, but I think because I set it up as off at the beginning, it won't let me turn it on.
It won't let you
So,
turn it on. Okay.
yeah, so if everyone wants to, on the Square VA at virginia.gov, if you want to send a photo of your drawing, I'd love to share it with
Ah,
Emily and
I'd
maybe we can
love to
share it on
see
our
it.
Instagram.
Oh my
So if you're
gosh,
comfortable
yeah.
doing so, send it our way.
Here's mine. And I think it's a great addition to the sketchbook page, right? And so I hope that folks think, like, take from this that you could do it during your lunch break for 30 minutes. Just sit, focus, quiet, um, and work on drawing a little flower in your garden. Maybe we can be calmer and feel better at our jobs that are really, really, really difficult. Let me check the chat to see anybody. Okay, Kesley, thank you for sharing. Um, yeah, if y'all, and I work at the health department. If y'all need anything, you know where to find me. I'll put my email in the chat too if people want to chat more. But I'm so grateful that y'all chose to spend an hour of your day with me and Kesley as we um, did a little nature journaling. Thank you so much for coming. I hope everyone has a great day. And I work downtown in Richmond. So if you're down there, um, please say hi if you see me walking around. I love to get empanadas on Thursdays. So I might be in the line.